Hey, what is up you guys? You're watching Team APS, and in today's video, we're going to talk about cards every Yu-Gi-Oh player should own.
Right.
Because, like, a lot of stuff comes and goes, right? Like, packs come out, Zodiacs are coming out, and then, like, they'll come and go, and the next thing will happen.
Everything gets corrupt.
But there are certain cards in Yu-Gi-Oh that pretty much just stick around. They don't leave, and it's actually really good to have copies of them in your binder or in your, wherever you keep your cards. Because they're useful. So
they're always good, so you want to have them.
Let's hop in.
First thing first, I'm going to go with you should always have hand traps. I think things like Maxi is one of those cards that has fluctuated in price and in usefulness.
Really withstood the test of
right,
time.
but it's always come back. Valor, we keep getting more and more new hand traps. We've got a Ghost Ogre, we've got Winter Cherries, we've got another Ghost
the new one
out.
comes out.
I can't remember.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's something about the graveyard,
yeah,
right? Like it stops your opponent from
milling or from like doing graveyard deck.
or something about that, or sending from the deck.
Yeah, sending from deck.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
The best thing about hand traps is kind of like you said, they kind of evolve with the times.
Right.
Like there will be formats where Valor might not be as good, or there will be formats where like Ghost Ogre is not as great, and sometimes it's better. But generally speaking, they don't belong to a specific deck, so any meta deck or any anti-meta deck or anything is going to want to use these cards.
Right, and just in general, there's really good effects. I mean, and they're hand traps, so they're always surprising. And like I said, they don't go in any general deck, so it's just like, hey, I have this card, it works for this situation, I can now use it.
Hoarding them's totally worth doing. Like, honestly, having like 10 or 12 effect Valors or something is...
I used to do that.
A lot of
now I just have a
maxis and you just have that kind of stuff. I really think it's good. And funny enough, most hand traps also tend to synchronize with like little like decks here and there, like Valor being a level 1 tuner, and like Maxi being like 500 attack. Like I remember Debris Dragon used to be able to get that back, like if push came to shove. Things like that. Ghost Ogre's a psychic level 3 psychic tuner and all that, and utility target. So those are all good cards. My next suggestion would be to keep a hold of the Solemn Brigade. Traps in general, but the Solemn Brigade in particular. The Solemn Brigade has evolved over the years.
Right.
So there was a time when it was, just having 3 Solemn Judgments. Now it's more like, or then it went to like, what was it? Warning. So it was
Solemn Judgment went to like
a judgment and like
2
or 3 warnings. Then there was like Scolding and it came out, and now, now we've got Strike. But generally speaking, the Solemn cards are always going to be worth it.
Right.
They're probably more prone to being hit on the ban list because they kind of tend to go on and off of there. But I think that just having them in general works.
Right, they're still good to have because you never know. I mean, like I own them. I don't use them right now, but it's just the fact of knowing that if I ever need them, I do have them. And they also become pricier sometimes too. So just getting it out of the way and just holding them.
Yeah, having your warnings, having your strikes,
Good business.
Good stuff. Back to you.
Next thing we got on the list that I'm going to go with is you want to have, and this is one that we both thought was really good at given the formats now, kaijus. I mean, they're cheap. I mean, and they're answers. They're answers to a lot of random outs. We have a lot of cards, a lot of monsters that say you can't take me off the field because of X. Well, kaijus just kind of get over that. So I just feel like we feel like at this point that kaiju is just one of those mainstays. Not saying that you have to main it, but it's just the fact that anytime you're going to deal with a problem monster, then kaiju, 9 times out of 10, a kaiju will be the answer for it. And things, not even just kaiju, things along the vein of like lava golem, and also things like roster mode, just depending on the play and the formats. And
it's actually really interesting that that's kind of become the standard thing, is just to have monsters just attribute your opponent's
right, to give your opponent because their monsters just are annoying as fuck. So yeah.
My next one is spell and trap removal. For a long time, this was just have a lot of MSTs and you'll be fine. Nowadays, it's have MSTs, have Twin Twisters, and honestly, Cosmic Cyclones joining that list.
I love that card, yeah.
I was kind of hoping that like Galaxy Cyclone would catch on. It kind of hasn't really. And Typhoon, the trap battle pack, things like that. All those cards, they're always going to be useful because you'll always want to be able to like side deck, spell and trap removal. There's always going to be back row heavy anti-meta decks and decks that rely on some field spell.
Right.
Twin
Pendulum
Twisters,
decks,
pendulum decks, all that stuff. Having extra copies of all these cards really helps. And you don't really want to like sell them because Twin Twister is kind of pricey right now. But I mean, just generally speaking, I would say that they're all worth having copies of on hand at any given time because they're easy picks.
Everyday play spells and traps, and there's always something that's gonna be a problem. So
even before now, like Dust Tornado MST was a good duo of cards to have on hand.
And stuff. So yeah, before Twin Twist came out, and we also have things like the Fiction Archfiend too. So just back row wipes are always just good.
Right. Yeah.
Or if we want to just stick in that vein, but not really, Denko is always funny too. Just cause,
having copies of that's actually
we're just gonna lock it down. We won't blow it. We'll just let you keep it, but.
Back to you.
Next on the list that we're gonna have just cards you guys should always want to have. Extra deck cards. Now, more specifically, just given how the games always seem to go, rank 4s mostly are always better. Yeah, the rank 4 toolbox is always the best thing to have. But just extra deck in general, synchros. I always have that one Nord in handy. A few synchros like I said that, but a few Z's like I said, just any rank, but mostly rank 4 toolbox. But
I know Alec has a binder, and he just keeps all his extra deck cards in there
because you never know what you're gonna need.
These days, people complain about Yu-Gi-Oh being expensive, but the truth about Yu-Gi-Oh is that sure your archetype might be expensive, but honestly half the time it's the extra deck. It's the extra deck that costs half the price of the deck.
Yeah, that makes up the price.
And so if you can just get a lot of the staple extra deck cards. Yes, Omega is expensive and Crystal Wing's expensive, but if you are able to get one or two, just hold on to the card because it'll be useful in several different decks. So you really might as well hold on to these things. Same with the rank 4 toolbox. Don't trade your Abyss Dwellers. Don't trade, your
Castels,
your
Utopia package,
Utopia and S39 and all that. Those are the kind of cards that. They don't really go anywhere. The decks will come and go. Those cards will be used in
a multitude of decks. So
that's definitely good.
So that's actually how it was. Real quick, that's how my Omegas. I picked the Omegas when the set first came out because nobody wanted them, and I really didn't need them. But I was trying to build side frames, and then down the line, I needed Omegas, and I forgot that I had them at home, so I actually found them in my room at my house, and I was just so glad because they went up to $60.
$60,
and I was like, I don't have to buy them. I have them. So
Crystal Wing's like $70 these days or something like that.
So if you get an extra deck card, and that you feel like you might use, just like you said, there's nothing against hoarding cards. They're yours. I mean, you should hoard them, especially if they're useful.
You're gonna hoard anything, at least hoard staples.
Yeah, hoard things that are called things that you know are gonna stay in the game, be a mainstay over the test of time. So
I think is that all we got?
Yeah, unless you guys have any other things that you guys think of that everybody should own.
Yeah,
nothing deck specific. I say everything we try to choose is something that's general that can go in any deck at any given time. So if there's anything you guys think we should add to the list, then please comment down below.
Oh, there's just a quick one, Raigeki Dark Holes.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's a lot to say about those, but just
they got monsters you want to kill them.
They're helpful. So that
kill that shit
is a bunch of cards that honestly most players need to have in their binder. And just keep in their binder, keep it either at home or something. They come in so much handy when you're building decks, and that situation everybody has where you buy a deck core off of somebody, but now you're missing the staples.
Right.
This is basically to avoid that.
So now I have staples already. I'll just add them in there because it happens a lot. I mean, I do it too. So
yeah. If we missed anything, which we always do, feel quite free to hammer us in the comments about it because
don't hammer me. I'll fucking cut you, but you can hammer Paul.
Yeah, what other things? What would you suggest to a player who's getting into this game and collecting cards? What's the stuff they shouldn't be selling that they should just hold on to for themselves?
Exodia.
Yeah, I
don't own Exodia anymore. I just thought about that. I actually sold my set of Exodia.
I think most players don't own a copy of Exodia. It's kind of depressing to think about, but. Those are the cards. Hope you guys liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, give us a subscription. Also, hit that bell to get notified whenever we make new videos. Should have been mentioning that more, I guess. Follow me on social media and all that stuff, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.